This is Visionary New Earth Leaders Podcast with me, Jenny Lyon, empowering visionary healers, entrepreneurs and leaders ready to actualize their fullest potential by expanding their consciousness and embodying 5D leadership and blending cutting-edge energy tools with business innovation and strategy to create impact and raise the world's vibration. I'm your host, Jenny Lyon Rainbow Anderson, and I am a New Earth business mentor, a channel and master healer. I'm also the leader of my own business. I have 23 plus years experience in energy work, mentorship and coaching. I'm a married mother of 2 based outside London in the UK. If you're ready to step into New Earth leadership and 5D consciousness, this is the channel to tune into and learn about embodied New Earth leadership, the power of self, energetic solutions to leadership, spiritual entrepreneurship, and joyful feminine creation. This is the vortex supporting the leaders into the new earth. Hello and welcome back to Visionary New Earth Leaders. I'm Jenny Lyon Rainbow Anderson. I'm so happy that you're here. If you are one of our faithful listeners, welcome back. And if you're new to the show, welcome. Yeah, I invite you to binge on all the other episodes if you haven't already. So today we are talking about something really exciting. This is a 5D leadership and what it actually means. And first, before we dive into everything, when I talk about 5D leadership, I mean becoming the leader of your own life. And then that will also transcend into your business, into your workspace, into the organizations that you're in, the leadership position that you may have. But the good thing is you can start now without even thinking of having to involve other people. You can really start stepping into this now. You can start stepping into this way of being without having to tell anyone, actually. You can start practicing these steps that I'm going to share with you today. And that's the good news, because everyone has to start somewhere, right? So wherever you are right now, whether you are a CEO, an executive, you might be an entrepreneur, you might be a leader of your own life, whoever you are and whatever you do right now, this concept can apply for all of you. So we are going to discover and talk about the essence of 5D leadership and its transformative power. And we're going to also talk about what sets 5D leaders apart from other more traditional leaders, and how 5D leadership can maximize effectiveness and growth. Because wherever you are right now, whether you are working for yourself or if you are a leader in an organization, you want to be productive, you want to work towards profit and productivity, you want to kind of save time in a way. You know, you don't want to waste, you want to be sort of smart about everything that you do. So this is about optimization and maximizing effectiveness, growth, everything. Because what happens is when somebody raises their awareness and consciousness and step into a higher level of consciousness, what happens is that every single part of their life and their business, everywhere they are active, will take a positive leap. Like there will be a positive leap, a positive change, a positive outcome in every single part of your life. And that's why it's so magical, because it doesn't just work on your money mindset, or it doesn't just work on your feelings of worth or empowerment or confidence. You know, it works into all levels of your life. Okay, so traditionally, leadership has been about authority and control. And this is what we see as we call the old paradigm, the paradigm that is actually dying. And it's not about controlling, it's about empowering now. It's not about authority and hierarchy, it's about co-creation. And 5D leadership goes beyond anything to do with control, authority, and sort of, strict structures. It's about creating deep understanding of ourselves. This is why I'm talking to you as an individual. So whatever you choose to become as an individual will radiate and flow into every place that you are active in your life, in your family life, in your relationships, in your profession, in your career, in your business, everywhere. So this is why it's so, so powerful. And by committing to your own growth, you will then see the results in all places of your life. And it's not just about corporate success, because if I look at it as a long-term game plan to create more productivity, growth, success, profit, yes, it will. But it actually also has profound impact on individual lives and aspirations too. So it's like a win-win-win. And conscious leadership or 5D leadership is not just a trend. It is a moral imperative. And it beckons leaders to invest in their holistic development of their teams, valuing each member's potential as both professional as an individual and an individual. And this emphasis on personal growth and fulfillment underscores the value and appreciation for each leader's journey. So it is humans first, and everything else will follow. Profit, productivity, everything else will follow. Because if we can take care of the happiness of the people, it will bring happiness everywhere, and it will bring the growth, the success, the expansion that we're looking for. The next thing is we want to understand what conscious or 5D, conscious and 5D leadership is kind of the same thing. So conscious leadership is where the leader prioritizes self-awareness, understand how to communicate from a mindful place. It's about inclusivity. So you're inclusive. Leaders that are unconscious or less conscious, maybe we should say, they fall into traps of personal gain and climbing on each other's shoulders. And they may also feel their emotions may not be, they may not be so developed in their emotional intelligence, feeling triggered. And it just leads to perhaps friction and, aroused emotions, leading to discord and disengagement in the workplace and in the teams that you're working with. So the way that the conscious leader chooses to become, which is, like we said, self-awareness, knowing what their triggers are, healing their traumas, becoming mindful, becoming inclusive, develop empathy, heart connection, bringing these traits forward means 5D leadership. That's conscious 5D leadership. And that comes down to self-development. It doesn't come down to how we become really good at a specific task or calculating spreadsheets or organizing a team event. That's great. Those organizational skills and good ways to delegate and all that, that's great skills. But it's still not including this level of self-awareness and self-development, which is so needed. So the next thing is, how do we actually then, do emotional regulation, and how do we develop self-awareness? Well, there's many, many ways of doing it. And I would say should become nearly like a spiritual practice that you include mindfulness, do your breathing, slow breathing, deep breathing every day, connecting with your emotions. What are you really feeling? Give yourself stillness, give yourself a time out every day to connect to who you really truly are. It's actually in that stillness where you discover what feelings has not been coming to the surface and which needs to come to the surface, which is safe. Also noticing where you feel unhappy or where you feel that it's something's not working in your life, whether that is within your career or profession or whether that is on a private matter. But it's like bringing awareness really and have this stillness. And in that place as well, you can emotionally regulate. So the more we pause and the more we give ourselves some space, it could be like 10 minutes every day. And if you want to do that as a quiet meditation or just a space to breathe or doing some breath work or just walk in the park, whatever that is, that space that you give yourself with no interaction, no phones, no people, no technology, nothing around you, just you, your thoughts, your emotions and your energy, that is magic. Like that's the magic piece, because then you can connect to your higher self, you can connect to your intuition in this space, and it's really important to create this space. So the next thing, which I think is an amazing way of becoming a new Earth 5D conscious leader, we can call it either of those actually, because they kind of mean the same thing. But it's to really embrace vulnerability and allowing yourself to be transparent, showing your humanness to your team, to your clients, to your family, to everyone, and to trust that you're safe doing so. Often people and leaders feel like they can't share their true selves because they may be afraid of judgment, or they might be afraid of being outcasted or laughed at, or feeling less authoritative or less as leaders. But actually, this openness and this level of connection and authenticity, when you're allowed to take the guard down, creates a deeper connection with the people around you, and they will respect you more. They will actually feel also that you're human and that they can come to you with any of their problems or things that are not working for them. And this is such an important piece in becoming a really, really good 5D leader. So what signs, and I'm going to include 6 signs, are indicating that you may be a little stuck in your leadership journey. I've come to this by working with leaders, but also, evolving on my own path. And these 6 things could potentially keep you stuck then and keep you in the same place, and making you feel frustrated, tired, drained. And that's not a good thing, right? So let's go through these. So the first one is constant need for approval. This really comes down to a sense of like a lack of self-worth, a lack of like knowing self and knowing your value. Because if you know your value and you know your excellence, because really that's what it is. If you really trusted that and knew and believed that you have that, you wouldn't need any approval from anyone. And this comes from, this kind of thing comes from childhood, where you may have been criticized or where you were not allowed to trust yourself, where you maybe were overprotected, or maybe you were neglected. Like, it could be so many things that creates this feeling of unworthiness, feeling of not being valued. It could be bullying. It could be parents not present. They're there physically for you, but emotionally, maybe they were not there at the level that you needed. Maybe a lack of father figure, or maybe lack of mother figure. There's so many things, and this little child inside of you would have started to create a story, about yourself, a story about who you are. And this type of healing has to happen, with leaders in particularly. Well, everyone needs this kind of healing. And I mean, that's what I do with my clients. We unpack all of these things and we go deeper and we clear those traumas or those childhood, the neglect or whatever happened. And we do that really effortlessly, and we work very deeply and intimately together to release this so that they feel completely free from all these things. So these 6 things I'm going to talk about today, I help my clients with to become free. The second thing is having, I call it fruitless efforts. It's almost like putting a lot of spaghetti on the wall, having to work really, really hard for something without any sort of reward or feelings of reward or actual, tangible results. Often this come down to that the person have some limiting beliefs about themselves. So it's a subconscious thing. So that means that on the outside, it looks like they're working really hard and taking all the action, but there is a part of them on the inside that don't believe that they are worthy to receive or worthy to have what they want. And also it could be, there's a lack of, the word I would like to use is being very, what's the word I want to use? I want to use the word of being very sure. Like you're so it's conviction. That's it. Self-conviction about that you have the power to create whatever you want. And when there is a lack of that self-conviction that you have decided basically that you are in charge, that also creates this sort of wobbly sort of energy that then blocks the universe from sending those things to you. So we heal that as well. So with my clients, we will heal anything to do with lack of conviction or lack of belief or sort of lack of anything that is reflecting the highest potential, basically. Lack of anything that is the opposite of highest potential. So that's really important, because if you're a leader and you have a great vision and then you put all the work in and the efforts are high and you're not seeing the results, then it feels really disheartening, right? The next thing is dwindling profits. So I've seen this with many many leaders and organizations sometimes, that despite their efforts and despite working really hard, it's the declining. There is often it comes down to actually that, not the lack, but the slow sort of like response to evolving may create this, because if the person is too stuck in believing in something that used to work and they haven't evolved, they've not listened inward and they haven't listened to really what the next step is for them to move forward, they're kind of stuck in the head, so to speak. It just means that when they're stuck in the head and sort of like on a mental level decided to do this, but they forgot to plug in the heart and the intuition, it may not be the right place they may need to make some changes, to move forward. But they haven't been able to listen into that because they haven't had that capacity to choose to tune into the heart space and to the high intelligence, the high self. So therefore, they can kind of it's like Groundhog Day, right? Keep doing the same thing, but it's not working. But actually, they would not been listening to the intuitive prompts or their gut feeling or something else that they were meant to change so that they could evolve the business or evolve the teams or whatever they're doing. And that is also sort of an inability to connect to the intuition and trusting the higher power, trusting that there is a higher plan. And that's also coming down to not being connected, to this higher level of creation, and knowing that you have the power within you and that the power is not outside of yourself, it's inside of yourself. So obviously I help with this. I mean, one of the 7 levels of embodied leadership is power. So we make sure that we connect back to the power and the inner power and the trust and the knowing and the sort of the conviction of where you need to go. The next thing is talking over listening. So sometimes what I've realized that some people, they find it hard to listen because they are so preoccupied with their own thoughts and their own brain ticking over with so many, so many thoughts and so much that they forget to listen. And that's kind of, I always think when somebody is able to listen and observe, they will learn so much more about their environment and about the people around them than if they were talking. So if you give yourself, allow yourself to listen and be quiet and let everyone else, if you observe, you will learn so much. So I think that's another, and for those who find it hard to stop talking or talking over or controlling, that comes down to trauma usually. There's a trauma response to keep talking so that you don't have to feel. If you keep talking and you basically quiet, allow your emotions to come up, feel in, check in with yourself, that means that you have to feel your emotions as well. And many people don't want to feel their emotions because it's a trauma response to suppress the emotions. And when you suppress the emotions, it means that you don't have to feel them, but they're obviously going to come back and sort of knock on the door and make sure that you deal with them at some point, right? So listening is important. But if you feel like it is a trauma response in you and that you keep talking, you keep, being occupied in your mind, you're overthinking, too much going on, you have a heart dropping into your heart and sort of really allowing your mind to, it's like a wild horse running away with you, then we should have a chat, because I can definitely help you with this so that you can step into more of listening, more of being, allowing, absorbing, and really, noticing what's going on. And the next sort of sign that you might be on the wrong track is that your team or the people around you have stopped talking to you. They've stopped sharing. They don't feel safe. They don't feel like they can trust. They feel disconnected to the whole, the team they're in, the organization they're in. And that is a sign that the leader is not stepping into authentic connection and sort of care and personal, connection with their team members. And that is so important to have this connection and communication going with your team members. They should feel inclusive and they should feel like they are really making a difference together with the team and with you as well. The next one and the last one is avoidance of vulnerability and accountability. So I suppose that vulnerability is a hard piece, because often when we don't want to be vulnerable is because we don't feel safe. So this is also a trauma response. And if you feel like you can't be vulnerable because there is this fear of either being judged or shamed or ridiculed, whatever the fear is, that comes from a trauma. So this is why it's so important to work on the traumas and to clear those and heal them so that you really feel safe being vulnerable. because this is one of the good qualities to have, right? I said also accountability, and I think there could be, if somebody is running away of the responsibility and not, staying accountable and staying committed to the path, there would have been some disappointment, earlier in their lives. There would have been maybe a lack of father figure, or there may have been something else in their childhood that made them kind of hide and run away and not taking responsibility. They could have also watched their parents, one or the other parent, not being responsible, and then kind of, copying the pattern as such. So this is so important. These things like these, if you have any of these, we are a very good fit to work together, and we can start your journey. And I want to say something about the deep inner work and diving into this. There's a few myths, actually. So the first one is fear of change. And people say, is it going to take long? Is it going to be hard? Is it, I'm scared, sort of thing. And that's the ego. So the ego, I just want to break this down to you. So the ego wants to stay stuck. Like, the ego likes habit. It likes things the same. It kind of wants to keep you in suffering, because then it doesn't have to change. So the ego is like, we have to work as an ally with our ego, but really the ego is just there to keep you stuck. So if you think now, okay, so it's just also the brain wants to keep you safe. So the brain will say, well, let's just keep it as it is, because that worked yesterday. You were not in danger, or you were not killed, or you were not, things were stable if we keep it this way. So there is also this part of the caveman brain, we all have a caveman brain, the amygdala at the back of the brain, that wants to keep you safe. And that part of the brain is just really there for survival. And this part of the brain we can override. So we can say, okay, thank you, caveman brain, or thank you, part of my brain who wants to keep me safe, but actually is safe. I'm going to, I want to grow. I want to be limitless. I want to have everything. I want to be a great leader. I want to embody all those qualities that Jenny, mentioned in this podcast. I want to be connective, inclusive, have a higher vision. I want to have all those things, and I don't want to feel blocked. And I don't want to have those, 6 signs indicating that you may be stuck. So you can, you can just say to your caveman brain, thank you for reminding me that I need to keep safe, but actually this is safe. So I'm going to do it because I have better plans, for my life than keeping stuck. So you could sort of think of it that way. And then also, some people say, it's going to take a long time. So it doesn't take a long time. It takes a commitment to wanting to do it. But so if, let's say, for example, I heal one trauma, we say as a father trauma or father wound in my clients. It could be an absent father, or a father who was like not a good role model. That is just one session and a little bit of homework. So if you think of, let's say your father he was this role model for 20 years when you grow up, and that's a long time, right? That takes 60 to 90 minutes to resolve, and a little bit of homework, because I always give my clients a little bit of homework where they have to do some journaling, or give them a book or something that they just need to do, or they might have to write some new sort of affirmations about their vision, how they want to move forward and stuff. But just a little bit of engagement, not too much, but a little bit, and that's it. It's done. And if something ever comes up again, usually what happens is there might just be a little fraction of something that we need to clear up that will take sort of 5 minutes, but that should then be done. So if you think, I have this long trauma and this long sort of imprint or lack of or absence of, that can be quite fast to heal, actually. So that's why the work that we do is so effective. We don't want to go on and on and on. It's not like being in therapy for sort of 20 years for the same thing. That kind of work, that doesn't work anymore, I don't feel, for people. They want to get it done, move forward, and, step into this new version of themselves effortlessly. So that's myth number 2. Myth number 3, what is other people going to think of me, and am I going to be accepted? What's going to happen to me if I start changing? It's a fear of what other people are going to say or how they're going to treat you. So there is an effect throughout your relationships when you start healing, and it's first is a little bit unstable because people are like, wow, you're changing, you're being different. Kids often sort of rebel a bit because they kind of like the way it is. Partners often also go, I don't recognize this, but this is a new boundary you've put down. But it is kind of really temporarily. So once the person keep going with the change, and which is the positive change for all, so it's not just for the person working with me, but obviously for their family and for their loved ones too, they all benefit. They all go to their next level of sophisticated or harmonized relationships, and everyone's like happy. So it's absolutely worth every single moment and every single investment, every single thing that you could ever put into this is worth it. So let's wrap up. If you loved the show and if you like listening to New Visionary, New Earth Leaders, please give us a review. You can do it on Spotify, Apple. There are, I think, the main ones. And we would love for you to share the show as well with people that you think could benefit from this transmission and information, if you like, or, teachings that I share. And I would love to see you next time. And hopefully, if you feel connected to what I'm saying, we could work together. There is a link to book your alignment call with myself, which means we have a chat and we talk about what options are best for you right now and how you can transcend into a 5D embodied leadership role or energy that you want and you see for yourself. And until then, I'll see you soon, and take care, and I'm sending you lots of love on your journey. Thank you for listening to Jenny Lyon's Visionary New Earth Leaders podcast. If you're ready to rewire your subconscious mind, clear your programming and collective conditioning, transform your trauma into trust, and step into your soul's calling and true leadership, or if you're ready to unlock your fullest potential through activating your light body and expand your consciousness exponentially, detangle and clear your past life karma and Akashic records, and setting up for success, launch your online spiritual business, and so much more, then go to jennylyon.love. And if you're receiving value from the show, I would love if you would share it with a friend and give it a 5-star review. Also, you can join me in one of my live free trainings, and you can find it right on the website, as well as in the link in my bio across all social media. I am Jenny Lyon across all platforms. I wish you a blessed day, and may you live your most authentic self.